Wu, joining me right now, is the Heritage Foundation Senior Fellow for China Strategy. He is the author of The 100-Year Marathon, China's Secret Strategy to Replace America as the Global Superpower, which, by the way, is a must-read. It's an excellent book. Michael Pillsbury is here. Michael, thanks very much for joining us this morning. First, your reaction to Lydia Hu's report. I want to get your take on all of China, Communist China's actions, but we'll start with this power grab and land grab to buy land right near our military installations.
Right. It's a very important subject, and it's a good example of a larger problem. Here, an individual senator gets a letter from the Air Force very late in the game trying to head off the purchase of this land. What obviously has to happen, and this was known at least a year ago, if not 2 years ago, there needs to be a law passed by both houses, signed by the president, monitoring this or saying it cannot be done if it's so many hundreds of miles away from an Air Force base. But there's no action by Congress. You'll notice the letter you put up from the Air Force is really chilling. The Air Force warning an individual senator, this will hurt the U.S. Air Force if you allow this to happen. That's not the way policy is made. A letter doesn't stop anything. There has to be legal action taken. It has to become a crime, for example, to do some of the things that are being done to help China in our country. There's no sign that's happening at all. That's what concerns me the most, Maria.
Yeah, and there are so many concerns. It does not feel like this administration is serious about holding China to account. I mean, we've got Navy divers this morning recovering debris from the Chinese spy flight. It was shot down on the coast of South Carolina on Saturday, as you know. But this administration has successfully tried to change the conversation. They're trying to change the conversation from the enormity of what we have just witnessed, that a spy flight was flying throughout the middle of America for up to a week. And we don't know what kind of damage this has caused, what kind of information and data it has sent back in real time to the CCP. And yet, instead of that, we're talking about whether or not this has happened before, which it did not happen under the Trump administration, we're told. I spoke with former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe on Sunday Morning Futures, and he refuted this claim that it happened before. Watch this.
The People's Republic of China executed an incredibly successful intelligence operation over the mainland of the United States, and conversely, the Biden administration committed an unprecedented national security blunder of incalculable damage. Well, it's not true. I can refute it. Former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper refuted it yesterday. Former Secretary of State and CIA Director Mike Pompeo has refuted it. But Maria, the American people can refute it for themselves. Do you remember during the Trump administration when photographers on the ground and commercial airline pilots were talking about a spy balloon over the United States that people could look up and see even with the naked eye, and that a media that hated Donald Trump wasn't reporting? I don't remember that either because it didn't happen.
Michael, your thoughts on this entire scenario. First, I want to get your thoughts on the enormity of this spy flight, and then discuss a bit about how they're trying to change the conversation now.
Well, the largest lens to look at this through is the Chinese nuclear buildup. We used to think, and the Pentagon would repeat this every year, that China had about 200, maybe 300 at most, nuclear warheads. They were not invited to arms control talks. The problem was always the Soviet Union trying to surpass us. Now, the Pentagon has announced, and I agree with it, that China is going for at least 1,500 nuclear warheads, almost all of which have the United States within range. So worst case, what this balloon is doing, and this happened during the Cold War with both us and the Soviets, the balloon is capturing information about how our ICBM warning system works. That's why they're in Montana near a Minuteman field. The second thing is to take precision photos of the area. You can't do that from a satellite 200 or 300 miles up. If you're really close and you have a high-quality camera and tape recording machines inside this device, you can get extremely useful nuclear targeting information. That makes sense given the massive Chinese nuclear buildup. So what we're probably looking at here is the issue of what is inside that sensor package. If it wasn't damaged too hard by hitting the water at 300 or 400 miles an hour, if something's left that the FBI and CIA can find and play the tapes, and then it's released publicly, at first in classified briefings, but if they're improving their nuclear targeting ability against the United States strategic deterrent. That's extremely serious. This certainly was not a weather balloon off course. So I don't know how we could emphasize anymore the importance of what is happening with this balloon flight.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Michael. I mean, the U.S. reportedly is considering new sanctions on Chinese surveillance companies over sales to Iran's security forces. Chinese customs data reveals that exports of video recording equipment to Iran jumped last year. Anti-government protests spread across the country. But, Michael, this is so much bigger than what is currently being discussed. What kind of a response would you say is the right one from the U.S. to China now?
Well, if you go back to the example of 1960, when the U-2 was shot down, Francis Gary Powers didn't use his poison pin. The Soviet response was to immediately cancel the summit with Eisenhower in Geneva. The Soviets put the pilot on trial. They embarrassed the Americans. Now, I'm not saying we should copy everything the Soviets did in 1960, but what I'm hearing now from friends in the administration is that they want to negotiate with China about returning the balloon and the sensor package and go back to 2001 when we had negotiations with China over our P-3 plane that crash landed. You know what happened, Maria? The Chinese ultimately sent us a bill for $1 million while they held our 13 crew basically in prison at the base. They cut up the aircraft and they would not return to us the sensitive parts of the aircraft that was being used for intelligence collection.
Right.
So some Biden people some Biden people are using the word guardrails now. We need to build guardrails around the relationship. We shouldn't go too far. It's not a new Cold War. So they want to have negotiations now on what we return to China from the balloon and the sensor package. I think this is just crazy. But I think it's what's going to happen.
Real quick,
I think it's going to happen.
Can Congress do anything? Because you say that there appear to be at least 30 pieces of Republican-authored China legislation, but it's purely symbolic, you say.
Yes, I think at the Heritage Foundation, there's quite a team that monitors congressional legislation, tries to help in hearings. And the idea is you need to make some yardage on the football field where you pass legislation. You don't just have a hearing and then think that's the end of it. Unfortunately, I had the experience for 10 years of being a Senate staffer, Maria, on various committees. And a lot of times just having hearings or going on TV is all the senator wants to do. He or she does not want to actually pass legislation. Some senators are different. They really want to get results. They're the ones we need to cover and praise their success when they have it, because very little legislation is actually passing. It's being introduced a great deal. That's why I mentioned this number of 30 pieces. But it's not being monitored by the media. Senator, how are you doing? Congressman, how are you doing on your legislation? I'll give you one quick example. The Taiwan Policy Act passed bipartisan Senate Foreign Relations Committee. In the House, they tried to put up the same piece of legislation. You know how many Republicans they got? 36. It was introduced. It went nowhere. It was trying to improve Taiwan's defenses and better deterrence for Taiwan. So this is what we have to cover at Heritage Foundation. And frankly, I'd like to tell you about it as we learn what's going on. So you could ask members of Congress on your show, what are you doing specifically to stop the China threat?
Michael, yes. Please come back soon. This was a very important interview. We appreciate your work, and we'll certainly follow it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Maria.
Michael Pillsbury joining us.